The gleaming doors of Universal Physique slid open with a soft hiss as Park stepped inside. Her eyes adjusted to the bright interior, where beings from across the galaxy exercised on equipment that seemed to defy physics itself. The gym occupied the entire 57th floor of the tallest building in New Seoul Space Station, offering panoramic views of Earth and passing starships. Kim, the owner and most famous fitness trainer in 3 sectors of the Milky Way, was supervising a green-skinned Endarian struggling with gravity weights. His 4 tentacle-like arms moved with precision as he adjusted the machine's settings. "You're pushing too hard too fast," Kim told his client. "Even with your species' regenerative abilities, muscles need proper recovery time." Park approached the reception desk where a holographic assistant smiled pleasantly. "I have an appointment with Trainer Kim," she said, trying to keep her voice steady. The hologram blinked in surprise. "Human Physiology Program. 1 moment, please." Park had heard the whispers even before she arrived. Humans were considered the weakest spacefaring species in the Galactic Federation. With Earth's lower gravity and relatively short evolutionary timeline, humans simply couldn't compete with the physical prowess of races like the stone-skinned Lithians or the muscle-dense Fenlexians. Many aliens viewed humans as fragile creatures better suited for intellectual pursuits than physical excellence. Kim finished with his client and spotted Park waiting. His expression shifted to one of mild curiosity as he approached. "You're my human appointment?" he asked, not bothering to hide his skepticism. "Park, correct?" She nodded. "Yes, I'm with the diplomatic corps." "Interesting. We don't get many human clients here. Most find our methods too." He paused, searching for a polite term. "Intense." "I'm aware of your reputation," Park replied. "That's why I'm here." Kim led her past various training stations where aliens performed feats of strength that would be impossible for unaugmented humans. A 4-armed Dorjan lifted weights that could crush a small vehicle. The crystalline Thalasian stretched its body to 3 times its normal length. "What are your fitness goals?" Kim asked as they entered a private assessment room. "I need to improve my physical capabilities for an upcoming diplomatic mission to Proxima Centauri. Their gravity is 1.3 times Earth standard." Kim activated a body-scanning device that surrounded Park with soft blue light. Data began scrolling across his tablet. "Average human female physiology," he muttered, reviewing the results. "Bone density, muscle mass, cardiovascular function, all typical for your species. Is that a problem?" Park asked. Kim's professional demeanor cracked slightly with a small laugh. "I've transformed beings of all shapes and compositions. I once helped a gelatinous Bluborian develop solid muscle tissue when their scientists said it was biologically impossible." He set down his tablet and looked at her directly. "The question is whether you're prepared for what it will take. My methods produce results, but they're not gentle." "I can handle it," Park said firmly. Kim seemed unconvinced. "Humans have a history of quitting my program. Your ambassador canceled after 2 sessions last year." "I'm not the ambassador," Park replied. Something in her tone made Kim pause. He studied her more carefully. "Very well," he finally said. "We'll begin tomorrow at first rotation. I'll develop a custom program for human physiology. But I warn you, there will be pain, and progress will be slower than you might expect." Park smiled. "I didn't choose this because I thought it would be easy." As she left the assessment room, she noticed other clients watching her with a mixture of curiosity and amusement. A towering Lithian whispered something to his companion, and they both chuckled. Kim remained in the room, reviewing her scan results. There was something unusual about this human woman, not in her physical readings, but in her demeanor. Most species came to him seeking transformation for vanity or social advancement. Park seemed different, more determined. "Computer, access all available data on human adaptation to non-Earth environments," he instructed. The system displayed limited information. Humans had only been part of the Galactic Federation for 30 years, biological infants compared to most member species. Kim smiled slightly. Perhaps this would be interesting after all. If nothing else, it would be a challenge, and he hadn't faced a real challenge in years. Schedule Park for the high-gravity chamber tomorrow, he told his assistant. Let's see what humans are really capable of. The high-gravity chamber hummed quietly as Park completed her 200th push-up. Sweat darkened her training suit, but her breathing remained controlled. Kim watched through the observation window, frowning at the readouts on his tablet. Increase gravity to 1.4 Earth standard, he commanded. The machine responded with a soft beep, and Park's body visibly strained against the additional pressure. 50 more, Kim's voice announced through the speaker. Without complaint, Park continued. 3 months had passed since she began training at Universal Physique. Unlike Kim's other clients, whose bodies transformed dramatically within weeks, Park showed minimal external changes. Her muscle definition had improved slightly, and her endurance had increased, but nothing like the results Kim typically delivered. That's enough for today, Kim said after she finished. The gravity slowly returned to normal, and Park stood up, stretching carefully. When she exited the chamber, Kim handed her a nutrition tablet and a container of purple liquid. Diolean protein supplement, he explained. It accelerates cellular regeneration in most species. Park swallowed the tablet and drank without hesitation. After months of increasingly exotic training methods and supplements, she had learned not to ask about taste or side effects. Your progress is, Kim began, then stopped, searching for the right words. Disappointing, Park suggested. Puzzling, Kim corrected. You execute every exercise perfectly. Your adherence to the nutrition plan is flawless, yet your physical development lags significantly behind projections. A group of Venlexian business executives entered the gym for their session. They glanced at Park and exchanged knowing looks. Humans' reputation for physical weakness was common knowledge throughout the galaxy. Perhaps we should try something different, Kim said, ignoring the newcomers. Follow me. He led Park to a previously unused section of the gym. The room contained a single device, a floating metallic sphere surrounded by glowing energy fields. This is a neural muscular synchronizer, Kim explained. It's typically used for rehabilitation of severely injured clients, but I've modified it to enhance muscle fiber recruitment patterns. Park looked at the device cautiously. Is it safe for humans? Theoretically, Kim replied. It's never been tested on your species. Without hesitation, Park stepped toward the machine. Let's try it. Kim's eyes widened slightly at her willingness. Most clients required convincing to try experimental techniques. As Park positioned herself within the energy field, Kim adjusted the settings. This will stimulate your nervous system to activate muscle groups more efficiently. You may experience temporary discomfort. The sphere began to pulse with blue light, and Park's body tensed as energy waves passed through her. Her face showed pain, but she remained silent and still. After 20 minutes, Kim deactivated the device. Park stepped out, her movements stiff but controlled. How do you feel? Kim asked, scanning her vitals. Different, she replied. Lighter somehow. Kim studied the data with growing frustration. Neural activity increased by 27%, but muscle development remains unchanged. He set down his tablet harder than necessary. This makes no sense. Perhaps humans are simply resistant to your methods, suggested Ta, a Lithian regular who had been listening nearby. Not every species can be enhanced beyond their natural limitations. Kim shot him a sharp look. Every species has potential beyond their perceived limits. It's simply a matter of finding the right approach. Tai shrugged his stone-like shoulders. The Galactic Fitness Competition is in 6 months. You've never entered a human participant before. Perhaps this is why. After the Lithian walked away, Kim turned to Park. Why are you really here? Most humans gave up after a few sessions, yet you've endured 3 months of increasingly demanding training with minimal visible results. Park wiped her face with a towel. Not all progress is visible, Teacher Kim. What does that mean? Instead of answering, Park walked to the standard testing area. May I? She asked, gesturing to the endurance track. Kim nodded, curious. Park stepped onto the track and began to run. 10 minutes passed, then 20, then 30. Her pace remained steady, her breathing controlled. Other clients stopped their workouts to watch. After an hour of continuous running, Kim finally halted the test. Enough. Park stepped off the track, showing far less fatigue than she should have. Interesting, Kim murmured, examining her biometrics. Your cardiovascular efficiency has improved significantly, though your muscle mass hasn't increased proportionally. Humans evolved as persistence hunters, Park explained. We don't get bigger, we get better. Kim considered this. Tomorrow, we try something completely different. Be ready. Park smiled. I always am. Kim stared at the official notice floating in the holographic display above his desk. The Galactic Federation seal pulsed gently at the top of the document, marking it as a formal legal proceeding. He read the title again, still unable to believe what he was seeing. Notice of civil action. Client Park versus Universal Physique and Kim, proprietor. After a full galactic year of training, nearly 15 Earth months, Park had filed a lawsuit against him. The specific complaint cited failure to provide contracted physiological enhancements despite full payment and client compliance with all prescribed regimens. This must be a mistake, Kim muttered, scrolling through the detailed complaint. His office doors slid open and June, his legal advisor, entered with a concerned expression. I came as soon as I received the notification, June said. This is unprecedented in your career. Kim gestured angrily at the display. She completed the most advanced training program I've ever designed for a human. If her biology couldn't respond properly, how is that my fault? June adjusted his formal business attire, his 6 fingers tapping nervously on his datapad. The contract you signed specifically promised significant physiological enhancement appropriate to species parameters. Park claims no significant enhancement occurred. That's absurd. Her endurance improved dramatically. But did her overall physiology enhance in the way your advertising promises? The famous Kim transformation that your other clients display so proudly. Kim fell silent, remembering how Park's external appearance had barely changed despite his increasingly exotic methods. The Federation Court has scheduled the hearing for next week, June continued. This case is already generating significant attention across multiple systems. Indeed, Kim's communication system was overflowing with messages from news outlets throughout the galaxy. The story had spread faster than a quantum transmission. Famous trainer sued by human client for no gains. 3 days later, Kim sat in the preparation room of the Galactic Federation Justice Hall. The massive building, with its crystalline architecture and gravity-defying design, housed courts for all manner of interspecies disputes. We've assembled the finest legal team in the sector, June assured him. 3 Veclarian logic specialists and a Taurian emotion reader. Kim nodded absently, watching the monitor as spectators filed into the courtroom. Representatives from dozens of species filled the gallery. He recognized several competitors from other high-end fitness establishments, no doubt delighting in his predicament. Will Park have legal representation? Kim asked. June checked his notes. Surprisingly, no. She's representing herself. Kim's confidence rose slightly. A human against our team. This will be over quickly. When they entered the courtroom, Kim was startled to see Park sitting calmly at the plaintiff's table. She wore simple diplomatic attire rather than formal legal dress. Before her sat only a small collection of data devices. No legal references, no team of advisors. Their eyes met briefly, and to Kim's surprise, she offered a small, polite nod. The judge, a respected Meridian with 3 brain lobes specifically evolved for impartial judgment, entered, and the proceedings began. Kim's lead attorney presented their defense first, displaying impressive holograms of Park's training regimen, complete with comparisons to programs designed for other species. My client provided the most comprehensive human-adapted fitness program ever created, the attorney argued. If the human body is incapable of significant transformation, that is a limitation of their species, not of Teacher Kim's methods. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the gallery. Several alien spectators nodded knowingly. Humans were widely regarded as physically inferior compared to most space-faring species. When Park's turn came, she approached the central platform with just one small data device. The courtroom quieted, many leaning forward with curiosity or amusement. "Honored Judge," Park began simply, "I wish to clarify that my lawsuit does not claim Teacher Kim failed to provide an exceptional training program. In fact, his program was remarkable." Kim exchanged confused glances with his legal team. "Rather," Park continued, "my complaint centers on a fundamental misunderstanding of how human physiology responds to exercise stimuli and the resulting failure to acknowledge the actual improvements achieved." She activated her device, projecting a series of biological scans into the air. "These are baseline measurements of my physiology before training began." The judge studied the images carefully. "And these," Park said, displaying a new set of scans, "are measurements taken yesterday." The images appeared almost identical to the untrained eye. Kim's attorneys smiled confidently at each other. "I would like to request permission to demonstrate the difference," Park said. The judge gestured approval, and Park stepped toward the center of the courtroom. "What I show you now will explain everything," she said, removing her outer garment to reveal standard training attire, "and why this case involves far more than simple lawsuit." The entire assembly watched as Park prepared for her demonstration, and Kim found himself unexpectedly anxious about what would happen next. The courtroom fell silent as Park moved to the center of the circular presentation area. Behind her, the holographic displays still showed her before and after physiological scans, which appeared almost identical to most observers. "With the court's permission," Park said, "I would like to demonstrate what Teacher Kim's training has actually accomplished." The Meridian judge gestured approval with one of their sensory appendages. "Proceed." Park turned to address the gallery directly. Most species in the Federation evolved on planets with specific environmental pressures. The Lithians developed stone-like skin to withstand the radiation of their binary star system. Venlexians gained their impressive strength from their high-gravity homeworld. She paused, looking at the various aliens present. Humans evolved differently. Earth presented constantly changing challenges. Varied climates, predators, food sources. We didn't specialize in one physical trait. We adapted by becoming adaptable. Kim leaned forward, suddenly intrigued despite himself. Park gestured to a court attendant, who wheeled in a sealed container. "This chamber contains an atmosphere mixture with 30% less oxygen than Earth standard and trace elements toxic to most humanoid species." Murmurs rippled through the courtroom as Park opened the chamber and stepped inside. The attendant sealed it behind her. Before Teacher Kim's training, Park explained through the chamber's communication system, "I could survive in this atmosphere for approximately 10 minutes before losing consciousness." The judge's 3 brain lobes pulsed with interest. "And now?" Park smiled. "I'll demonstrate." For the next 30 minutes, Park performed increasingly complex physical exercises inside the chamber. She began with basic calisthenics, progressed to more demanding movements, and finished with a series of rapid sprints, all while breathing the toxic oxygen-poor atmosphere. When she finally emerged, her breathing was elevated but controlled. The court's medical scanner confirmed she was functioning at 87% of her normal capacity, an impossible reading for an untrained human. "Remarkable," the judge commented. "That's only the beginning," Park replied. She approached another testing station and activated it. This is a standard reaction timer used for pilot certification. The device projected light patterns that required physical responses at precise moments. Park moved through the test at a speed typically associated with enhanced neural systems. "My neural processing speed has increased by 42% since beginning Teacher Kim's program," she explained. My cellular oxygen efficiency has improved by 63%. My body's ability to neutralize toxins has more than doubled. Kim stood up suddenly. But these improvements aren't visible in standard physical scans. Exactly, Park replied. Human adaptation happens primarily at the cellular and systemic level, not in gross anatomical changes. She turned to the judge. I didn't sue Teacher Kim because his methods failed. I sued because he refused to acknowledge they succeeded, just not in the way he expected. Park activated a final holographic display showing microscopic images of human tissue. These are my muscle cells before and after training. Notice the increased mitochondrial density, enhanced capillary networks, and improved neural connections. My body didn't get bigger, it got better. The courtroom erupted in discussion as species throughout the gallery debated the implications. The judge raised an appendage for silence. If your physiology improved as you claim, what is the basis of your lawsuit? The judge asked. My contract with Universal Physique explicitly guaranteed measurable physiological improvement suitable to my species in exchange for my substantial payment, Park explained. When I tried to discuss these improvements with Teacher Kim, he dismissed them as insignificant because they didn't match the visible transformations he typically produces. Kim's face flushed with embarrassment as he remembered their final assessment session. He had indeed dismissed her claims of improvement, focusing instead on her lack of muscle hypertrophy and visible transformation. In fact, Park continued, Teacher Kim's methods produced extraordinary results, perhaps the most significant human adaptations ever documented outside of specialized military programs. But because they weren't visible in the way he expected, he declared the program a failure and refused to provide the certification of completion that was part of our contract. The judge turned to Kim. Is this accurate? Kim stood slowly. I believe the program had failed to produce meaningful results. Because you were looking for the wrong evidence, Park said, but her tone held no anger. Humans don't adapt like Thanlexians or Lithians. We improve through efficiency, not size. The judge's brain lobes pulsed in the pattern that indicated deep consideration. After several moments, they addressed the court. This case presents a fascinating question about interspecies standards of physical development. We will recess for 1 hour while I consider the evidence presented. As the court cleared, Kim remained seated, staring at the microscopic images still displayed above the presentation area. He had been wrong, completely wrong, about how to measure success in human physiology. The Galactic Federation Justice Hall buzzed with excitement as the judge returned to deliver the verdict. Reporters from dozens of worlds crowded the gallery, recording devices hovering silently above the assembled beings. This case had captured public interest across multiple star systems. Having reviewed all evidence and testimony, the Meridian judge announced, "Their 3 brain lobes glowing in harmony. I find in favor of the plaintiff, Park." A wave of surprised murmurs swept through the courtroom. Kim sat perfectly still, his face expressionless. Teacher Kim and Universal Physique failed to recognize legitimate physiological improvements according to human biological parameters. The judge continued. The court orders full compensation as specified in the contract, plus standard interest. The judge paused, appendages raised for silence. However, I wish to address an additional matter. This case has revealed a significant gap in galactic understanding of human physiology, a gap that extends beyond this individual dispute. Park nodded respectfully as the judge turned to address her directly. The adaptations you demonstrated are unknown to most Federation medical and fitness professionals. I therefore recommend that the Galactic Science Academy establish a dedicated research initiative on human adaptive physiology, with both you and Teacher Kim invited as primary contributors. As the court adjourned, Kim remained seated while others filed out. His legal team gathered their materials, their disappointment evident. Losing such a high-profile case would affect their reputation almost as much as his. Teacher Kim. He looked up to see Park standing before him, her expression calm and professional. I would like to speak with you privately, she said. 20 minutes later, they sat in a quiet meeting room overlooking the sprawling cityscape of New Seoul Space Station. Neither had spoken since leaving the courtroom. "I don't want your money," Park finally said. Kim looked up in surprise. "What?" "The compensation awarded by the court. I don't want it." "Then why pursue the lawsuit?" Park smiled slightly. "To make a point. One that couldn't be made through normal channels." She activated a small holographic projector, displaying the Federation emblem alongside what appeared to be a research proposal. "I'm part of a specialized diplomatic initiative focused on improving human-alien relations through better interspecies understanding. The lawsuit was designed to attract attention to human physiological differences in a way that couldn't be ignored." Kim stared at her. "You planned this from the beginning?" "Not the specific outcome, but the general approach, yes. Humans have struggled to be taken seriously in physical domains since joining the Federation. Our reputation as the weak species has limited our opportunities in many fields." Kim felt a mix of anger and admiration. "You used me." "I selected you because you are the best," Park corrected. "Your training methods actually produced better results than our scientists predicted. That wasn't manipulation. It was genuine success." She slid a data crystal across the table. "This contains a proposal. A partnership between Universal Physique and the Earth Diplomatic Corps to develop species-specific training programs based on evolutionary adaptation patterns." Kim picked up the crystal but didn't activate it. "Why would I work with you after this public humiliation?" "Because you're a true professional who cares about results," Park replied simply. "And because this will make you the leading authority on human physical development in the galaxy." 6 months later, the newly rebranded Adaptive Excellence Training Center occupied 3 full levels of the station tower. Where Universal Physique had once catered primarily to strength-focused species, the facility now featured specialized environments for dozens of different evolutionary adaptations. Kim supervised a group of trainers, half alien, half human, working with a diverse client base. The center's reputation had spread rapidly after several high-profile success stories, including a human pilot who broke the Taurian endurance record and a Venlexian diplomat who mastered human flexibility techniques. "The Dorjian Prince is requesting the human trainer specifically," said Min, Kim's new assistant. "He claims only humans understand proper efficiency training." Kim nodded, watching as Park led a specialized class combining Lithian strength techniques with human adaptability principles. A year ago, the idea of aliens requesting human fitness instruction would have been laughable. "The Pan-Galactic Olympics Committee called again," Min added. "They want you to lead the advisory panel on cross-species competition standards." As Kim walked through his transformed center, he noticed a new client, a young Meridian judge, attempting human-style mobility exercises under Park's guidance. "The efficiency is the point," Park was explaining. "Movement should cost as little energy as possible while accomplishing maximum effect." Kim smiled to himself. The lawsuit had been a humbling experience, but what emerged was something far more valuable than his previous success. Not just a gym, but a center for interspecies understanding through physical development. "Teacher Kim," called Park, noticing him watching. "Would you demonstrate proper form? Sometimes these movements are better understood when seen from multiple perspectives." He joined her in the training circle, their previous conflict now transformed into something neither could have achieved alone.